Hello, my name is Mary Hunt. I'm a feminist theologian, a friend and colleague of Rosemary Radford Ruether. And Rosemary, this is really as much for you as for students and others who might be interested in the history of the field. I want you to know how important your work is, and I want you to know it from me and from so many of your friends. So I'll start with when we met. You probably don't remember this because it was a long time ago, but I remember it as if it were yesterday. We met in 1972 in September at Harvard Divinity School in the Rockefeller Refectory. We were having lunch. You were dressed in a purple pantsuit. You had a briefcase on which you had put a bumper sticker that said, "Question Authority." I had never met a person in a purple pantsuit with such a briefcase. For some reason, we sat down next to each other at a table, and then someone came over and said to you, "Oh, Rosemary, there's a women's caucus meeting in the small dining room." I didn't know what the women's caucus was. I didn't know what the small dining room was or where it was located, but you knew it all. And off you went, and there I sat. And I thought, oh my. Well, it's been oh my a lot of times ever since, Rosemary, because I began to realize even as early as the 1970s how important your scholarship is and continues to be in the history of the world religions. So the next thing I remember about our being together was not only those classes at Harvard that you taught, which I sat in on one, I guess I had other work that I was doing, but then in Berkeley, where I went next, you became a regular person on committees in Berkeley, both on my own doctoral committee and as a reader or person on a committee for other doctoral students. And I remember you used to come and sometimes stay with me at the Women's Center, which was a flat in a house owned by Pacific School of Religion. And you were very informal in your ways, very easy to be with, and awfully hardworking. In those days, we had what are called electric typewriters, and I'll have to explain that, I suppose, for students, but they're machines that actually type the words as you type them, and you can't erase, you can't spell check, and you can't print. It just prints on a piece of paper as you go. You used an electric typewriter faster than anybody I had ever known, and you would take a large, long, involved dissertation, go into one of the rooms at the Women's Center, read it with enormous speed, and click on that typewriter until I thought the thing was going to blow up in smoke, and come out a few hours later with several single-spaced pages of your very erudite notes and comments and suggestions for whatever lucky student had you on their committee. So those were some of the occasions that we shared during my student time and during your early teaching years. You went on to write, and had already written by that time, vast numbers of books, at least 35 books by my count. One time here at the water office, we piled them up, the ones that we have, which is most of them, set them against a normal size but relatively short intern, and they were just about the same height. We always laughed about it. But your articles, your hundreds and hundreds of articles, your many, many contributions to so many fields stand alone, really, as a corpus of work really located in feminist theology, but reaching out so far beyond to ecological issues, to your own work on Israel-Palestine, your latest book on mental health and the mental health system. All of these, I think, have helped to round a kind of career that only very few people will ever approximate. And I say that because it's not just your scholarly work and your ability to go to virtually every country in the world. I don't know how many countries you've been to, but certainly in the 20s, 30s, maybe even 40 countries, to lecture, to work with groups, always welcoming women, empowering them to do their own work. But you did it all as someone who also modeled for the rest of us what it means to have other talents besides theology. You can paint, you can garden, you can cook, and you certainly always brought a very rich sense of humor to the work that you do, and a rich sense of irony, so that while people might think, oh, well, that could be a snide comment, in your case it was really often a very erudite approach to something that other people just didn't see the way you did. I think of the hilarity of some of your work around the popes and bishops, your notion of how men shouldn't be ordained, all of those rich contributions in addition to the scholarly work. So I have learned a lot from you about what it means to be a feminist theologian. I've also learned from you how to do a variety of scholarship, and I think your encyclopedias, your edited volumes, as well as your synthetically written single author volumes show us that a scholar, especially a feminist theologian, has to be nimble and agile in terms of thinking about the issues and presenting them to a variety of audiences. I even remember fondly the book of letters between you and Thomas Merton. Maybe a lot of people haven't read it, but I found it very, very instructive. I think, Rosemary, and I have no reason to flatter you, but I think really you set the gold standard in feminist work and religion, and I am very, very grateful for all that you continue to do. Thanks so much, Rosemary. And I hope scholars and students will find this very brief overview of your life and of our relationship and work together to be useful. Thank you.